Panel relations for NWA Central States Championship Wrestling, and I did not screw that up one time.
That was the most boring
intro.
It was. What we do is interesting. You're not supposed to make it sound like you sell home insurance.
Well, these are my boys right here. I'm
Champions.
Champion and champion,
Yes, sir.
self-proclaimed champion. I've got the freestyle phenom, NWA Missouri heavyweight champion Jay Howard right here.
Everybody look.
Probably the most prestigious championship.
Don't act like you guys know who he is. Come on now.
Thank you. I know you've heard me.
I didn't see any of y'all buying t-shirts.
And young man, what's your name again?
Oh, that's very funny. That's very funny. They call me the Natural J.A. Fair. They call me that because everything I do it naturally. But I happen to be the NWA. I'm actually the champion of the state of Illinois.
State of Illinois. The second to the state of Missouri.
There was a part of my brain that was like, Illinois is a state, right? It totally is. And I am the champion of it. So we fancy ourselves pro wrestlers. Me and Mr. Howard to my right, we're part of Troy Athletic Club over in Troy, Missouri. I know you got culture applause for Troy till the very end.
That guy, he knows.
Yeah, he knows. He's probably been. Wait, that was that guy outside. He was trying to sell us. He's a Jehovah's Witness. I know him.
Yo, watch that watchtower, man.
Very good. Honestly, that watchtower is great. We could do a whole panel on the watchtower. I mean, y'all giggle, but I got every one of them since July 07. Y'all heard all you want. But apparently, the man on the far right who kind of, writes the checks and signs the big time talent. He said we have a show June 30th. Now I just show up with this guy. He's the driver, so I couldn't tell you when, couldn't tell you who. I can tell you I'm probably going to win. I can tell you I'm going to lead the state of Illinois as champion. And I don't have to say Illinois. I can say Illinois. I can say Illini. It doesn't matter because being the champion, I get to dictate that. So. But apparently there's a show June 30th. Where's it at? Waynesville.
The show is going to be in Waynesville, Missouri at the Ark. Everybody knows from around here knows what the Ark is. It's going to be a big. It's a fundraiser for the Pulaski County COAD, help with flood relief in this area. As any of you know, that we're here pretty devastated a while back, so we're trying to step in and do whatever we can to help with flood relief. And I do have a big match that I'm actually ready to announce right here. I've got one of them right here, the Missouri heavyweight champion. I talked to his opponent yesterday. His opponent was in kind of a foul mood because he just landed in the U.S. and it was 2 a.m. in Italy, so that's what he's used to. But the Roman dynasty, Kareem Brigante, the only ever Italian national to hold this belt, wants his rematch. So I'm going to announce right now we're going to have that rematch. The Italian, the Roman dynasty, Kareem Brigante versus the freestyle phenom Jay Howard. One more time, this belt right here. He should like you. He should like you. And the Illinois champion, as he so called himself, I'm not so sure who you're going to face yet.
It honestly doesn't matter. You could put on, if you got a pair of boots that's not all covered in cow mess, you can hop in the ring with me, and we can just do it that way. Honestly, this kid over there has been smirking. I'll wrestle him. I can wrestle him. I mean, I hedge my bets very safely. I can beat him.
I know two guys standing back there who I believe issued a challenge to us.
They think they're a tag team.
Where are they at? I see one right there. Where's the other guy? There he is. So, I mean, we also do tag team wrestling.
You see, he's at the Dasani machine getting his Gatorade, just prepping. Already prepping, he's trying to hydrate.
Yeah, get hydrated.
He's out of electrolytes just thinking about having to wrestle us in real life. So. But, I'm sure all of you guys are at least familiar and somewhat with the sport of professional wrestling. If you guys have any questions, I literally can rant, and I will answer every question you've ever had, beyond your wildest dreams, honestly. So if anyone has any questions about the sport of pro wrestling, what we do, why we're sitting next to each other when we're both respective champions, anything like that, just go ahead and
I'm a respected champion.
Yeah, I said respective, not respected.
I said respected.
Yeah, you got it correct, because no one respects me.
Let's just remember that this is the title from the state of Illinois.
You know, I mean, when was the last time we ran a show in Illinois?
About 3 years.
So it's been about 3 years since I've defended an in-state, but it's all good. No one minds.
Nobody knows.
Here, someone come on. Homegirl we were sitting by. We got roller derbier, aquamarine. Anyone that's got a question, be sure. She's like, I think you cannot be talking about me, can you? But anyone that's got any questions, I'd love to hear what you guys actually think about wrestling. I mean, I can honestly, I've got the microphone. I could just sit here and go all day. Have you guys heard the new Star Trek series that's coming?
I've got a question.
Okay,
we've got our first question.
Our boss. First question over here to the man in the red shirt.
Well, yeah, but I'm not expendable like the others. The question I have is, you guys have been wrestling for a while. What's the longest road trip you've had to go to a wrestling show?
Oh, buddy, we've actually done what we call in the biz. You hear how hip I am, guys? In the biz, we call them double shots, which is when you work 2 shows on the same weekend. I've actually went from St. Louis.
Or 3.
Or 3, that's true. I've actually went from Southern Illinois to St. Louis to Memphis to Dallas to Austin in the same weekend and back before we had to be at work on Monday night. So we've done 14, 15, 16-hour car rides without breaking a sweat. The main key is making sure you have fuel, and that's for your car and for your body, right? You guys taking notes on how to road trip like a professional? Because I tell you what, I don't make enough for wrestling. If anything, I am a professional road tripper at this point. You know, honestly, one of the big life hacks is to get a shoe box. Okay, say you've got an uncle that wears a size 13 shoe. And you're going to want to empty that shoe box and cook as many hot dogs as you possibly can. Okay? Make sure they have buns. Make sure you wrap them in tin foil. If you're with me or you're intuitive like we are, you're going to want to put those foiled up dogs inside the shoe box. Now we're talking, we're maximizing trunk space because we're all going to have stuff. But you stop at a rest area, because rest areas, they don't have anything to buy, so you're not going to be swindled out of your cash buying a really sweet, you know, sewn horse blanket-esque sweatshirt, which I do own.
Yes.
And you can just stop and you can snack on what we call trunk dogs. So
they're also known as dash dogs because you put that tinfoil on the dashboard of your car, you will have a warm hot dog in a matter of minutes.
One time I wrapped up a ribeye in tinfoil, set it on the engine block. We drove 500 miles, got out there, it was still pretty raw, and I ate it. Just seeing who's paying attention.
Yeah. The longest road trip I've ever done is New York City, 19 hours one way.
This man,
the Black album, the Metallica Black album.
If you haven't heard of the Black album by Metallica,
about 50 hours.
There he is. That is absolute essential road trip material. Because the weird thing about the Black album is you can play it over and over again and it never gets old.
No, it gets better.
Track 1, Inner Sandman. I won't go through the Metallica fans are like, I know the track list.
We can meow the album, so I mean, don't get us started. It's not limited to just the Black album.
That's true also.
We will meow all your favorites.
Injustice, meow, 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 meow.
How long is that chain that I ain't here?
This young lady has a question up here to my right. Eyes focused to the right, stage left. Like I know what that means. Go ahead, babe.
So is there anybody you guys would like to wrestle? Like, is there someone that it would just be your dream to be in the ring with them and wrestle?
You know, honestly, we're just making jokes and kind of trying to get a little pub for, NWA Central States. But honestly, in this whole region of the country, and I mean this, you guys can look it up and hold me to it. This man sitting here to my right is one of the more blue chip athletes. You know, like in a few years, she's OMG. She knows where
She doesn't know why she's excited.
But honestly, you guys can hold me to that. In a few years, this man to my right will probably be one of the better to come out of the state of Missouri. So I'd
That's
say,
your answer.
yeah. I mean, I've lived with this man for 3 years, and I'd still probably rather wrestle him than almost anyone out there.
And then if I recall correctly, you've actually attacked me from behind.
That wasn't
So
me.
can you explain your motive behind that?
That wasn't me.
That was you.
That wasn't me. That was
So-
Ryan Gosling on meth, which I'm usually compared to, so that's probably why you got that confused.
Who would I like to wrestle? I can say this guy right here too. So I'll tell you what, I know I'll be taking that home with me.
I like you need another one.
Yeah, like in the
So I guess in a roundabout way, even though we're passively aggressively, competing with each other on a daily basis, we probably like to wrestle each other. And honestly, NWA Central States may be the place that inevitably happens. We'll have to see how that ends up shaking out. Thank you for your question, dear. Any more questions?
Any more questions?
Any more?
Oh, we got. Gonna say something?
You got, no, you're not, okay, all right. Is that, do you have, is that?
This guy's got a question. All right. It's a really important question.
Okay, so we were actually talking earlier about Ric Flair, his 90-minute match. If someone came and said, listen, this is what I want you to do, would you do that 90 minutes?
So you're
successfully, isn't it?
You're asking if an opponent were to come to me and say, hey, the natural J.A. Fair, because that's how they would refer to me, I challenge you to a 90-minute match. You're asking if I would accept it?
I asked you, I didn't just damn that, did you do it?
Oh, would I do it? That's actually much more simple. No, I would not do it because an hour and a half is a very long time to do anything. I have trouble finishing a movie that's that long, or even back-to-back episodes of The Office get redundant at a point. But no, honestly, I wouldn't. I would cheat. I would do whatever, and I have no shame in saying that. I would hold it. If it was this man and he said he'd give me that belt if I wrestled him for an hour and a half, I would cling on to his ankle for maybe 9.5 minutes.
You wouldn't last the first 20.
That's my point.
I don't know what you're gonna do for the first 90 minutes. Doesn't make sense.
But yeah, the way a lot of people do like Ric Flair, and we train open in Troy, Missouri, as I said, with Harley Race. Honestly, probably the greatest wrestler of all time, if you know even relatively your history or whatever. And that man would go with Ric Flair for an hour plus, and not even.
Sorry.
And honestly, and still finish a 30-pack on the way home. So.
Wasn't Harley on the 90 minutes? Wasn't it Harley?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, because what they used to do back in the day is they would tour. Like a handsome guy like him and a not so handsome guy like myself, they would just tour, anywhere that would have us, and we would, bring the belts with us, title match or not title match. But I mean, a lot of people do know the name Ric Flair, and if you do study your history, Harley Race legitimized and made Ric Flair, as respectfully as I can say something like that, but Harley was a very influential figure.
I want to add a little something to this. There's actually a story that a lot of us guys know. Hour and a half used to happen a lot, but 2 hours also used to happen a lot. And I think it was Terry Funk who wrestled, cannot remember the name, but they wrestled for 2 hours, and the guy got the fall on Terry Funk, won the World Heavyweight Championship. But then Terry Funk brought a scale out, and over that 2 hours of time, he lost enough weight. He weighed 198 pounds at the end of the match, so he wasn't a heavyweight, so he could not win the belt.
Wasn't that, I think that was in Dallas.
That was in Dallas.
It was against Guerrero, or was it Guerrero?
Maybe it was one of the
I thought it was the eldest figure.
Wow, David, I don't know if it was David. I thought it was a smaller guy that just barely made the 200 mark. And then he lost enough weight over that 2 hours that he didn't want to qualify as anybody. He would. So,
we were also talking earlier about tag teams and the iconicness of that going way back. Who's your favorite tag team icon?
Well, you know, anyone that knows anything about wrestling and can see with their eyeballs what I look like currently would probably guess, and they'd be right, that the Hardy Boys were like my inspiration and stuff. You know, whenever I started out my wrestling career, I would very often go to a venue and be like, "What's the tallest thing? I'm going to jump off of that." And that is no way to live, ladies and gentlemen. That is very dangerous.
Look how stressed out he is.
I mean, I'm stressed out just thinking about the bumps I have taken in the past.
And the ones that haven't even happened.
Oh, I can't even begin to.
My favorite tag team is the Steiner Brothers. I mean, hands down, they're just the roughest, toughest team. So I mean, that's what I try and emulate. I mean, Rick Steiner's just the baddest dude that's ever lived. And
I don't know. His transformation was a little weird.
it was. So I'm gonna try and do a little better.
His transformation is a little freaky. I ain't gonna lie.
So, but yeah, they're an awesome tag team. So.
Well, when you talk about tag teams, when I grew up, I watched so many. I watched John Anderson, Todd Blanchard, and the Road Warriors and the Steiners were among my favorite. But I would have to say, simply because Bobby Eaton's a friend, I would have to say the Midnight Express. And they were one of the most iconic tag teams ever. And Bobby Eaton had great success with a lot of partners. With Arn Anderson, with a little bit with William Regal, but most of the Arn Anderson and Scanlon and Dennis Condrey. I would have to say that my favorite is the Midnight Express. I love Jim Cornette because Jim Cornette always wanted to be like me.
I know, fabulous Freebirds.
Freebirds.
Yeah.
Freebirds is great. That is a stable that has been sorely missed for a very long time.
That the Von Erich family.
Well, over the years, especially recent years, there have been a lot of talk about major matches, big matches, and this thing. A lot of stuff has been forced down our throat, whether they're good matches or not. So, in recent years, say last 10, the best match you've ever witnessed or even been a part of.
Well, I think I'm going to speak first on this one.
Right? He looks like all the blood has left his face.
Let's see.
And the reason why I ask is because they promoted Shawn Michaels down on our throats so much. And at one point in his career, he was amazing. But the minute he started walking all bowling and on his knees, all the cartilage was going on his knees, he wasn't as great as he thought he was. That's just my opinion. If he was behind me, I would say something different.
He said you had one.
Yeah, I would probably say that the best match in recent. You said 10 years. I'll give you the last 6 months. Myself, the freestyle phenom Jay Howard. Right. This year alone, I have wrestled my arch nemesis, Korean Brigante, the man I'll be facing on the 30th of this month, out of Rome, Italy. I've wrestled him 6 times already this year.
It's the hottest feud in the Midwest.
The hottest feud in Missouri right now. So, I mean, if you haven't seen it yet, you can see it this month on the 30th in Waynesville. I mean, the guy's 300 pounds, he's 6'5", he's international, he's fought everywhere across the world, and he's tough, you know. I've also wrestled Ring of Honor superstar ACH. If you guys are familiar with him, him and I went 30 minutes in Austin, Texas, at a festival known as Fun Fest. And yeah, he doesn't like me. He doesn't. Not a lot of people do. Okay, so except you guys, y'all my friends.
With Jay Howard, they never forget.
Honestly, we don't sit here and work for WWE. We work for kind of the passion for the sport and the art of wrestling. And there was a time in the not so distant past that kind of started changing the way that fans looked at wrestling. Meaning it wasn't just something you kind of stumbled upon and watched for the pure spectacle of it, that you actually started getting more invested in the characters, even the past of the characters. So that's my long way of setting up. July 11th, 2011, Chicago, Illinois, Money in the Bank. It was CM Punk and John Cena.
Yes.
And if you've ever seen that match, we'll peel back just the edge of the curtain in that CM Punk was the heel and didn't get booed a drop. And John Cena was John Cena, and I mean they didn't stop booing him for at least 45 minutes. But
I don't either.
but that Cena and Punk was, and even people that don't know anything about wrestling know John Cena is pretty much unapproachable and all around. He's very, very talented. But there was finally someone that kind of, he wasn't as strong, he wasn't as big, he wasn't as pretty, he had way too many tattoos. Which you can understand what I like about that, and he kind of asserted himself. So CM Punk, anything he ever did, but really John Cena, Chicago.
I would say him and Orton are probably more talented than deserve.
Yeah. Orton is kind of a victim to his genetics in a way. If he wasn't so handsome, he'd be everyone's favorite underdog. You know what I mean? But at the same time, he came from St. Louis. I'm sure most everyone knows that. So, anytime he's been the babyface walking into a pay-per-view at Scottrade or anything like that, he's the biggest superstar that's ever lived. But he's one of those that's, I call myself the natural. It's more of a joke, honestly. But Randy Orton, Shawn Michaels, those are actual natural. And honestly, kind of Jay Howard. Like some people take to the sport very naturalistically. Because it's not easy. And even if it were easy, you're still getting the mess kicked out of you.
Sucking up over there.
Okay, I'm just pushing for that title shot. I'm trying to get
I'm gonna set this next segment up by telling the story myself to get you guys in the room. And this is about moments. I don't care about WrestleMania moments. They do happen, but that's not real. What's real is moments like when you have someone in the ring say, Bret Hart, and I think it was Shawn Michaels, when the crowd shifts organically. Bret Hart went in, Bret Hart went in that match as the face. And the crowd in the middle of the match chanted turn on. That was beautiful. Beautiful. But one of the best moments I ever recall, it was Dusty Rhodes and Tully Munch. Was a barbed wire ladder match. And Dusty walks in the ring, and Tully comes up, and he want to do one of these here. And Tully stopped, but because I guess somebody had spit or something, but he fell on his ass. But it was beautiful. It was the most organic thing ever. And he walked and leaned against the rope. And then when he was here, and Tully walks up and he hit him. I was done. I was cool. Perfect. And then, not 10 minutes later, I don't know what was going on in Dusty's head at the time, but he was tired. Because the ladder fell like 12 times, and he was so tired of this match, he looked over the referee, pick that damn ladder. I'm not doing it. That was one of the best moments ever in his career. To me, that made him the best badass ever. So what is your favorite wrestling moment? I gave y'all a good 5 minutes leeway into that.
And obviously, I did
told
say
you the whole story to get y'all.
I don't have any more to say than I would have. You gave me a week. Like anyone that was watching in the 90s, obviously seeing Mick Foley get thrown off of pretty much anything that you can stand on top of. All those were really, really, really big. But one of my favorite moments was, it might have been around 2010, 11, 12, somewhere around there. Old Dolph Ziggler, who kept winning Money in the Bank, which, that pay-per-view is in St. Louis tomorrow, I believe. He's not doing it. He could have won it again.
But he's got so much talent.
Well, see, whenever he won Money in the Bank, and they kind of just pulled us around and yanked us around forever and ever, waiting for him to cash it in. And I actually got to see him cash it in and become the champion. So for me, that was a very important moment because I followed him whenever no one liked him. I followed him when he would just had a secondary tier belt. Then he won, and he never really got his thing, but I really like the idea of being able to invest from the grassroots of a guy building a character, trying to get over, trying to make some money in this business and stuff like that. That was probably one of my favorite moments, just because I invested early, You know, it's like I told you guys, this guy to my right is going to be one of the bigger names to come out of the state, and it's like investing in him now and then seeing him achieve greatness somewhere down the road. You're like, oh my goodness, I've been there, you know, every step of the way.
I forget the question. Too much compliment got lost in space. Too many questions got lost in space. Favorite wrestling moment of all time? Just any. I don't want you to hurt yourself to come up with the best. Just
Okay. Are you all familiar with Frank Gotch and George Hackenschmidt?
Yeah.
These guys are from the early 1900s. I mean, the first decade of the century.
I'm about to hit you with a check.
It wouldn't be the first time. Their second match for the World Heavyweight
Was that
Championship.
in Yankee Stadium?
I don't know. But the first time Frank Gotch beat George Hackenschmidt, who was the first ever World Heavyweight Champion. The second time, the first match they had 2 hour and 13-minute match. So we talk about the 90 minutes, but these guys went 2 hours until somebody tapped out.
Really stinky?
The second time they wrestled, as the story goes, Frank Gotch had hired one of Hackenschmidt's training partners to injure his knee in training, as Frank Gotch's finishing move was a knee bar. So, like I said, as the story goes, George Hackenschmidt was hurt in training. The second time that they had their match, Gotch beat him, in under 30 minutes.
Nice.
So, that's always a good one.
And of course, the senior person
My favorite
just as big
wrestling as you guys should probably guess, 1948, the creation of the National Wrestling Alliance. That's my very favorite moment of all time. And proud to wear these 3 letters every day.
There has been nothing but icons come out of that.
Oh yeah.
Nothing.
For sure.
Coming from Chicago, I knew a lot about that.
It was huge because we finally had one world champion that went everywhere instead of all these little, kind of the way it's been recently with the little independents and stuff having their own world champion. No, one world champion went everywhere, and it was legitimate. I mean, and they were solid. Every show was just amazing. So, I wish that it hadn't gone the way it's gone. I miss the old days of the NWA, the Jim Crockett promotions and stuff. Love the Jim Crockett days. But, it is what it is now. And regardless of what anybody thinks or what anybody's heard about the Howard Brody, and Howard Brody is a huge moron. The thing about the WWE having rights to the NWA's name is not true. I know this for a fact. I've heard it from some people that are very much in the know. That Howard Brody didn't know exactly what he signed. And it didn't include giving the rights to the NWA or WWE. So that's not happening.
So I've read several interviews, seen some interviews with Dusty Rhodes, and he makes mention of several people he would never step into the ring again, ever again. Because of whatever reason. Usually legitimate, because he wasn't really a crybaby. It was amazing. It died. It died. So, individually, who would you not work with?
I'll work with him.
We get paid for it.
I heard that without the mic.
You say me?
he said, I want to get paid.
There's a couple of heavy hitters that wrestle around here. I think the easiest and the best. I'm not gonna say you because I've already kissed every part of the ass today, so, which is no more than any other day.
My house is still a little dry, so
That's usually how we finish our evening. I would say honestly, and this is mainly just to tell a quick story. I would say old Haku Ming from WCW, and I say that because aside from our trainer Harley Race, they are the 2 most renowned, toughest, ugly, nasty, tough kind of people. And allegedly, one time somebody came up to Ming and said, wrestling's fake. And me reached into their mouth and broke off their bottom teeth with his bare hand, and that was the end of that. I also heard a story where he ripped out a guy's eye and stomped on it in front of him and carried on to this day. So this is the kind of world we kind of wanted to enter into when we were
Well, we haven't mentioned Brock Lesnar yet. So I mean, I don't know anybody that wants to wrestle or fight or even talk to him who's been an asshole anyway. I'm actually from, I grew up about 30 miles away from Brock Lesnar, so I'm a little bit of an asshole too, so that's okay. I know he doesn't want to wrestle me. He says,
I mean, honestly, you guys can call wrestling whatever you want. This guy hits so hard. It hurts. And I would never cry, and I'd never let him see it. I'd wait for a moment like now to let him know that he hurts my face. But yeah, there's a lot of really, really hard swinging that can go on.
So would you rather be hit by him or take a slap from the Big Show?
Now, I gotta tell you, the Big Show's hand is at least like twice the size of my feet. Yeah, it's like the size of that belt. Be like if like I was going down the interstate and like a swordfish slapped me in the mouth or something. I can't. So would I rather get hit? I'd rather get hit by him. The only issue is I know I can outrun the Big Show. I cannot outrun this guy, so I guess they all have their pros and cons, you know.
Isn't that crazy exactly how amazingly talented he is? I mean, and he's down, what is he down, like 3-something now? Like 338 or something, which is kind of scary. That's very lean for the guy you're seeing. I might have actually asked this question, but I'm going to get a little bit more in depth with it. Because there's just so many people out there. And I'm not sure how current or up to date you guys are, but there's a lot of champions out there. So aside from these two belts, who would you step in the ring if you got the call right and let's go do this match, we give you this shot? Whose belt would you try to take? Right now. All three of you. Current champion, right now. Or what the last ball?
well, traditionally, the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, I think I'm in line for that.
Stepping stone.
Traditionally, the Missouri State title is the stepping stone to the NWA World's title, so I think it's just a matter of time. I got my phone on me. I should actually check. No, nothing yet, but it could be in the next 5 minutes. I don't know. So I don't care who has it either. This guy can have it. I don't care. So
It's Tim Storm. I can get a hold of it.
Yeah.
please do.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard it. It's right here. So
I could destroy Tim Storm. I look at Colleen and be like, don't put that on Facebook. Okay.
we're on Facebook. It's live.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sure he'll love that. No, I love Tim Storm. No one knows who he is, which is joke number one. Number two, I was watching him when I was a child. That's joke number two. Number three, he looks the exact same that he did. XXX, doesn't matter. That's joke number three. I would, honestly, with the way indie wrestling is kind of shaped up, there's been a lot of, the product that WWE has is very, very specific to their fan base. We kind of like a more raw kind of style. So all that being said, Shinsuke Nakamura is really what I would call in my own home Gnarls Barkley recently. So you'll see people that are very, very technical like him, fight someone like Kareem Burgani, who's been, just a hard-hitting striker that's been wrestling in, Italy and stuff like that. So this is a really innovative time for the styles, we'll call it.
I get the question too. Does it have to be somebody current? Yes. Oh man, I don't know if anybody really current. I guess if I was to get in the ring with anybody, I've actually been hit by you in the ring. I did not like it very much. The music,
for the Mad Hatter didn't start on time, so I had to sit there and get beat on. But, and you know what I'm talking about. Oh, currently, I would have to say, just because I did actually enjoy it, oddly enough, I would have to say Cajegas, the Tokyo Monster Cajegas, who is, I believe, the MMA National Champion. He is a rough, tough, just all-around big dude that is very solid. But if he could make me look good, then I would like to be in there, because it would take a lot to make me look
So,
good.
just Moses has to start wrestling and then,
Well,
I mean, if he can part a sea, he can make, Garrett Williams look like he can wrestle.
that's true. That's very true. But I'm not so sure I'm going to give him the opportunity.
And then one last question, unless somebody else has a question, but you guys are welcome to ask anything.
You got a question?
Question? You're our main
It doesn't even have to be wrestling.
No, it doesn't have to be wrestling.
Who would you, because we were talking a lot about,
And I used to watch WWE with my mom and my dad. The characters that you were saying, John Cena, CM Punk was my favorite wrestler. I loved his music.
he was a breakthrough artist.
But you see, there's not a lot of people like him out there.
CM Punk.
Oh, that's actually very interesting because CM Punk, he came out to. Before that it was Kill Switch, but it was his Fire Burns. I use Kill Switch Engage now. It's a track called Fixation on the Darkness, which is just a really radical track. And honestly, I'm not a competitive guy. Oh, I'm actually. Fixation on the Darkness is my 23rd interest music I've used. So, if you hear a song playing and you have no idea who's coming out, it's probably going to be me.
I think Evan Morris is after that title. I think Evan Morris is after that title.
Oh, really?
Yeah, after the show. But no, you mentioned CM Punk. I do want to say a little something about CM Punk. When I started this business 18 years ago, CM Punk was just starting out in Chicago, and he started in the NWA. Like we are, NWA. And my partner that is not here today, but he will be at the show on the 30th, Showtime Shane Summers, is probably the greatest NWA Central States Heavyweight Champion of the modern times, the modern era. Actually faced CM Punk and holds a count-out victory over him before he actually went anywhere. But he always talked very highly of CM Punk. He's very classy, very respectful guy. No problems whatsoever out of him. He's just a top-notch dude.
Since a lot of people know CM Punk and know that he used to wrestle and then he didn't do that so he could do USC and stuff like that. If you've ever listened to enough of his interviews and stuff, he has actually said that he wanted to be like the torchbearer for the old school Harley Race style wrestling because Harley used to love him and he used to love Harley. And he wanted to be, that Iron Man, like that, Owen Hart used to be, or like Chris Benoit used to be, or stuff like that. And I think that's actually part of what drove him out of the business was, holding yourself to a Harley Race standard, which we try to do every day, is pretty daunting. But I think he's one of the last. He was like that perfect blend of old school and new school that should have lasted forever, and instead burned out really fast. But I'm glad a lot of people like him, because when in Hulk Hogan's day, CM Punk would have been the guy that folded the chairs at the end of the day. So it's really awesome to see the business be the way it is now.
Losing the respect.
That's right.
Yeah, I still agree, pound for pound. I can name maybe 10 people that I know that at some point in their career, they were as talented as him, if not more. Like I said, when Randy did this, I hated that voice so bad. I couldn't stand him. If you watch him,
AJ Styles. Now,
at one point, not now, but at one point, yes, AJ was as talented as CM Punk. Now, well, no, it's not that he's getting up there. He's in a situation where he has to do what he's told. Yes. That's why, even though you guys don't like John, John has always been one of the most talented people in the world. He does exactly what he is told to do and never misses his mark. Unfortunately, that's the problem. He does exactly what he's told to do and he never misses his mark. Big Show has mentioned more than once, and of all the people who picked him up at his most weight, John is the only one he felt safe letting him do it. Because John had it. Brock picked him up. No.
Oh, you saw that.
Paul picked him up. No. John picked him up. I was fine. I had to stay up there forever.
See, Kevin Nash tried to pick him up when he was lighter than he was for years, and he didn't do it.
So, who would you guys tag? Who would you jump at the chance? Your phone rings. Hey, I need a tag team partner. Bye.
He's checking his phone right now. You know, this is a little,
It's not ringing.
This is a touch repetitive, but me and him as a tag team have actually never lost.
That's true.
Ever. And we fought some of the better, you know, the better ones in Memphis, Tennessee, down in Austin. There was a lot going on at that time too. But me and him are, I mean, really, really nasty together. It's we pair really well together. And I mean, honestly,
A lot of good chemistry.
yeah, honestly, that would be. I could hold us two as a team in our well-roundedness overall. I bet you we could go against most of the people, at least especially on the indies. You know, that'd be a hell of a pair.
Yeah, we are undefeated together, tag team, and so that speaks for itself.
And honestly, I promise you, I will never lose a tag team match with this guy. You guys can come out. I promise you, I will drive my beautiful 2007 Pontiac G6 straight through the front door of the venue if I even get close to losing. You can honestly count on that. I will burn every single one of my T-shirts. Sometimes I threaten to burn my own merch when it doesn't sell very well, and it works.
I just asked the questions. I don't actually know where they're going with them, okay?
You'll never know. I mean, if there were more or less people, it would get really weird in here because that's just how we are.
It's probably good that people hear us talk. The more we talk, the more you realize we don't know what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
this is all my idea. I'm just talking to Reddit right now. So, last question, just because I am as old school as you guys are, and there's some finishing move right now that I've upset me, and not counting what you guys do. Whose finishing moves are you really impressed with? Not counting your own.
Not counting your own.
Well, just athleticism-wise, I think when Seth Rollins used to do the fading splash, I had never seen that before, which is like, what is that, like a 540 and a front flip at the same time. I couldn't possibly even think agile enough to be able to figure that out. But that's really unreal. You remember, and you would have probably remembered when Brock Lesnar tried to shoot him Sark off the top rope. When do you ever see a guy that's 6'5", built like that doorway over there, try a backflip off the top rope?
Show did a moonsault once, didn't he?
That is terrifying.
Yeah, he did a moonsault once, which is insane. I'm telling you, he tried one.
You probably tried.
He did one to somebody. They made him land flat, but he did one. But still, at 550, shoot. That's a lot to see coming at you. I don't care what you're supposed to be doing.
I would say Frankenstein.
I love that movie. I have a story for you later.
Yeah, I got a quick one. This is hilarious. When we were practicing, we were just working on like, the biggest move we could come up with at the time, which is
Body slam.
which probably when we were rookies, we were like, hey, watch this. But he tried this move he did one time where this guy's coming at him, and as he's coming at him, this guy to my right, he grabs the guy coming at him by the hips, throws him up in the air. And as the guy's up in the air, he catches him about at his waist. So, guy's up, he lands over his shoulder, this guy catches him, he's got his like right hand behind his knees. Then he cuts a backflip. If anyone's following that is absolutely impossible. So again, guys come in, he throws him up, he catches him, and then cuts a backflip to land on top of the guy that he's suplexing. I seen him do it.
First one was Max.
Number one, Harley Race's son, Leland, screamed out of terror because no one saw it coming. And secondly, the guy he did it to, because it was this old ring that had duct tape in it, just holding it together. The guy he did it to, there was and the guy was balding already. There was like half of the hair on his head was stuck to the mat from like right before the back. So, I mean, not only have I seen some really raw things, that was just, I mean, if you want to talk about a move that is just, holy crap. I mean, imagine that. He throws him up, catches him, and then cuts his own backflip. I could never even think of doing that, but just this guy. And then, Leland is just scared to death that someone just broke their neck, and the kid hops up, he's like, I'm okay, I'm all right, I'm okay. And then he's like popping his neck because he probably, shrunk 2 inches from the fall alone,
Yeah.
That's a wild move.
Yes. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Let's give it up for the dudes from the NWA and our champions.
Thank you guys. Thanks guys. That's the greatest applause I've ever had.
Yes.